Monday morning, August 10th, 2026, 7:34 a.m. Millions of people across Western Colombia are starting their day. Coffee is brewing. Children are getting ready for school. A taxi driver named Jorge Moncayo is sitting in his car in Cali, watching the city wake up from the hills above. Then the ground moves. Not a gentle tremor. Not the kind of shake Colombia has felt before. This is different. This is violent. This is the kind of movement that makes people grab onto whatever is nearest a wall, a counter, a doorframe, because their body understands before their mind does that something is terribly wrong. Jorge watches from the hills as plumes of dust shoot up across the city below him, one after another, buildings coming down. He has never felt anything like it in his 64 years of life. "I've never lived through such a powerful earthquake," he will say later. He is right. Nobody alive in Colombia has. This is the story of the strongest earthquake to strike Colombia in the entire 21st century. At exactly 7:34 in the morning local time, a magnitude 7.4 earthquake struck in the Chocó department of Western Colombia, its epicenter located near the small town of San José del Palmar, approximately 250 miles west of the capital Bogotá. Colombia's Geological Service confirmed it was the strongest earthquake recorded in the country this century. To understand what magnitude 7.4 actually means here is a simple comparison. A magnitude 5.0 earthquake causes minor damage. A magnitude 6.0 causes significant damage. Each full number on the scale represents roughly 10 times more ground shaking than the number below it. A 7.4 is approximately 100 times more powerful than a 5.4. The earthquake struck at a depth of approximately 96 to 107 kilometers below the surface, what scientists call an intermediate depth earthquake. This depth is important. Shallow earthquakes, the ones closest to the surface, cause the most destruction directly above them. Deeper earthquakes spread their energy across a wider area. That is why this earthquake was felt not just across Colombia, but in neighboring Ecuador, Panama, and even Venezuela, hundreds of miles away. The cause was strike-slip faulting, two massive tectonic plates grinding sideways against each other along a fault deep beneath the earth. Colombia sits at a complex meeting point of several tectonic plates, making it one of the most seismically active countries in South America. Within hours, at least 21 aftershocks were recorded, smaller earthquakes that follow a major event as the ground continues to settle and adjust. The earthquake did not hit one place, it hit everywhere. Colombia's disaster agency confirmed the quake was felt across 9 departments and in all 32 departmental capitals. Pereira, the hardest hit. The city of Pereira in the Risaralda region, part of Colombia's famous coffee-growing area, suffered the worst casualties. Governor Juan Diego Patiño reported 42 fatalities in Risaralda alone, describing the situation as very severe, with serious damage to multiple buildings. A 4-story building crumbled completely in Pereira during the quake. Rescue workers continued searching collapsed buildings for survivors hours after the earthquake struck. Cali, Colombia's third largest city. In Cali, a city of 2 million people, at least 19 buildings collapsed with people reportedly trapped inside. Search teams and civilians picked through the remains of destroyed buildings, passing large pieces of concrete down a long line of volunteers working together to reach anyone still alive underneath. A firefighter named Mauricio Andrade told Reuters that his team had already rescued 2 adult women and 2 children from a collapsed building and was preparing to go back in for more. Several patients were also reported trapped under the rubble of a partially collapsed hospital in Cali. Manizales, where history fell. In Manizales, one of the side towers of the city's famous neo-Gothic cathedral, a landmark that had stood for generations, collapsed during the shaking, scattering heavy stone debris across the plaza and surrounding streets. Hundreds of years of history came down in seconds. Quibdó, the communications black hole. Quibdó, the capital of the Chocó department closest to the epicenter, faced a particularly frightening situation. Communications in the largely rural area were knocked out by the earthquake, leaving large sections without cell phone service for hours after the event. Governor Nubia Carolina Cordoba reported injuries and significant damage to buildings and warned that aftershocks were already being detected, but getting accurate information out of Chocó was almost impossible in the immediate aftermath because the infrastructure needed to communicate was gone. Behind every statistic is a human being. In Cali, a 27-year-old mother named Maria Alejandra Sotozea was in her apartment on the 7th floor with her 2-year-old son when the earthquake hit. The shaking intensified so quickly that she could not make it to the exit. She grabbed the kitchen counter with all her strength, her toddler in her arms, and held on while the building swayed and groaned around her. "Right now, I have back pain from the stress of the moment," she said afterward. "From shouting, from gripping the counter so tightly, and from the anguish of thinking I wouldn't be able to get out of here with my son." When the shaking finally stopped, she carried her son down 7 flights of stairs and out into the street. Both of them made it. Others were not so fortunate. At least 3 children were among the dead in the Valle del Cauca region where Cali is located. The confirmed death toll reached at least 132 people by Monday evening. A number that officials warned was still rising as rescue teams continued to reach areas that had been cut off since the earthquake struck. At least 87 people were injured. 61 buildings had completely collapsed. 1,575 homes were damaged. 18 health centers, 52 schools, 17 community centers, and 18 roads were also reported damaged across the affected regions. 1.9 million people experienced very strong shaking. Another 14 million felt strong shaking. A further 12.9 million felt moderate shaking. In total, more than 28 million people across Colombia and neighboring countries felt this earthquake. The Pacific Tsunami Warning Center confirmed there was no tsunami threat from this earthquake. The reason is directly connected to the depth of the quake. Tsunamis are generated when an earthquake displaces a large amount of water, typically when a shallow earthquake shifts the ocean floor directly. Because this earthquake occurred at a depth of 96 to 107 kilometers below the surface, far too deep to significantly displace the ocean floor, no tsunami was generated. This was one piece of fortunate news in an otherwise devastating day. The timing of this earthquake added a layer of political complexity to the disaster. Colombian President Abelardo de la Espriella had been sworn into office just days before the earthquake struck, making this catastrophe the very first major crisis of his administration. He immediately declared a national state of emergency, mobilizing government resources and deploying soldiers to the affected regions. He traveled personally to Bogotá's emergency command center to directly lead the response effort. The national government has all of its capabilities deployed to protect lives, assist affected communities, and deliver aid wherever it is needed, he said in a national address. International leaders from the United States, South America, Europe, and the Middle East all pledged support for ongoing rescue operations within hours of the earthquake. Flights were suspended at airports in Pereira, Manizales, Quibdó, Armenia, Cartago, and Buenaventura, while structural inspections were carried out. This earthquake did not arrive in isolation. Just weeks earlier in June 2026, neighboring Venezuela was struck by devastating twin earthquakes that killed more than 6,000 people, mostly along the coast near the capital Caracas. Colombia shares a long border with Venezuela. Many Colombians had family members affected by those earthquakes. Many Venezuelans had fled to Colombia in the years before. The region had not recovered from one disaster before another arrived. And for the rescue workers pulling rubble by hand in Pereira, in Cali, in Manizales, that context did not change what was immediately in front of them. There were people under the debris, and as long as there were people under the debris, they would keep digging. As Monday evening arrived across Colombia, the full scale of what had happened was still becoming clear. Communications were being restored in the most remote areas. Rescue teams were still working through the night. Families were searching hospitals for missing relatives. And the aftershocks, those smaller earthquakes that follow every major event, were continuing to rattle already damaged buildings across the region. The 7.4 magnitude earthquake of August 10, 2026 is now the strongest earthquake recorded in Colombia in the 21st century. For the people of Pereira, Cali, Manizales, and Quibdó, it is simply the morning their city changed. And the work of putting it back together has only just begun.
Dalang lablab ha? Ano lang? Laki suga, uy!
Levanta tu mano, Jesús. Ayúdanos, Jesucristo. Santa María.
esto, Dios mío. Dios, Manny, se va a caer.
Mga bata dito. Mga bata.
Laksugay. Yawa.
Vamos, señor. Dios mío.
Puta, como está moviendo el suelo.
Ya pasamos todo el tiempo.
No, señora.
Dios mío.
Dios mío, protégenos, Dios mío.
Padre Santo, Señor,
Dios mío.
nos encomendamos en tus manos.
Catedral, marica, no.
¿Qué hacemos?
No, no, no. No, no, no. Jesús. Dios. Dios mío. No, no más. No. Dios mío, ya. No más, Dios. Dios, no más. Amor, ¿estás bien? Amor. ¡Ay, no! ¡No! ¡La canción! Ya, mamita, ya. Ya. Mamita, la saqué cargada. La saqué cargada.
Espera, yo me voy.
Ya, mamita. Venga, papi, venga. Venga, padre, venga. Venga, papito.
Uy, de puta. Cálmese. Uy, marica.
¡Ey, carga! ¡Corra, corra!
¿Qué pasa, weón? Uy, perro.
¡Salga! Vea cómo quedó esto todo, Pereira. Vámonos que esto está de caer, güey. No, ya hay que.